We in the devil's house, a lion's den, pit full of snakes, trapped in no whirlwind. And as me world spin in hell's kitchen with hell's angels, facing constant danger.
And welcome back to another episode. And today we're going to be talking about, hold on, let's get a good signal. Slap the TV. All right, Hollywood. Today is brought to you by Hollywood, where you become a star and dreams come true, so they say. Magic. So this stick is magic. In the hands of the magician, it becomes a magic wand. Ancient druids used holly for their wands, as holly is the whitest wood considered sacred by the Greeks and Romans and magicians. The wood of the holly tree created the magic stick, and no wonder we have the magic of Hollywood today. The stick is a tool, weapon, music, sport. There is nothing ordinary about the ordinary stick. Let's get into it. Hollywood. It's take a certain darkness is needed to see the stars and become one. And they have you deranged. You're being programmed. You're being taught how to think by a Hollywood magic wand. The television is the monster in your home. Most people grew up by the television. The television was your parent, was your mentor, was the one you went to when you was in trouble. It's called a program for a reason. Your television is nothing more than an electronic mind-altering device. It has been designed to psychologically change the ways you think. And the media is the most powerful entity on earth. They have the power to make the innocent guilty and to make the guilty innocent. And that's power because they control the minds of the masses. Malcolm X tried to let you know. So what I'm getting at, we're going to get farther into it. The TV set or satanic family altar has grown more elaborate since the 1950s, from the tiny fuzzy screen to huge entertainment centers covering entire walls with several TV monitors. What started as an innocent respite for everyday life has become in itself a replacement for real life for millions, a major religion of the masses. Why can't black people unite? Why are we so broken apart? Because you don't control your image. Most people are living in a dream instead of in reality. The TV telling them how to think. Abracadabra. Voila. See, black men face high discrimination and depression, even as their education and incomes rises. Are you a highly educated and relatively wealthy black man in the U.S.? Studies that we have done, also those by others, show that you are at increased risk of discrimination and depression. The research on the intersection of race and gender in the U.S. shows that while education and income reduce the risk of discrimination and depression for whites and black women, this is not so for the black man. Why? The black man is especially singled out as dangerous, threatening, and inferior. But why we believe this? Because the television is the one who is telling the people how to have a vision or the way to look at the black man, so-called black man. Alice Walker, The Color Purple, 1982, which depicts the growing up of self-realization of Southern black women between 1909 to 1947. So basically the movie was about a black woman who was trying to overcome oppression from a black man. But how was she trying to overcome oppression from a black man? This is not reality. This is not real life. This is what Hollywood paint. So the NAACP and its leaders thought the movie depicted black man negatively because it was not the real image of what black man was doing around this time. But black man wasn't controlling their image. It was being controlled by the Hollywood people, the stars. So why did African Americans move out the South in the early 1900s? The primary factors for migration among Southern African Americans was segregation and indentured servitude, convict leasing, and an increase in the spread of racist ideology, widespread lynching. Nearly 3,500 African Americans was lynched between 1882 and 1968, and a lack of social and economic opportunities in the South. Where is the oppression from the black man? The black man was being oppressed, as was the black woman. The Great Migration was one of the largest movements of the people in the United States. Approximately 6 million black people moved from American South to northern, midwestern, and western states from 1910 until 1970s. But the color purple depicts a black woman trying to get from under the black man oppression. See, reality and the TV is not the same. Oh, got a signal going out again. Slap your box one more time so we can get the good signal and come back to reality. Ah, there you go. The history of the KKK in American politics. In the 1920s, during what historians call the KKK second wave, Klan members became important in American government on all levels. So you had the civil rights movements, and you have black men fighting and dying for the freedom of colored people, African Americans, blacks, Negroes. But when you look on Hollywood, they show a black woman trying to get up under the oppression of a black man. This is why the image of the black man is screwed, because he's not in control of his own image. It has been controlled by a TV. And you call it, it's just a TV show. But on TV, we was just dancing coons. Hey, boss, look at me. We be cooning. Yeah, I can dance, I can dance, I can dance. That's all we're known for, entertainment. So much known for entertainment, they have blackface, white people dancing like black people. This is the image of the black man, a dancing monkey. Tell our vision. They tell you what to think, what to wear, what to eat, how to act, what to hate, and what to love. TV depicted black man as nothing but pimps. Yeah. Yo, jive turkey. Look here. I want you to get that little hoe, and we gonna put that hoe on this fucking block, and we gonna get this money, man. Yeah, that's the image of the black man. We either oppressing the black women, we pimping the black women, you know, selling drugs or whatever, because this is what the picture Hollywood paints of the black man. But during this time, we're at the Black Panther Party, founded in 1966, dissolved in 1982. But in reality, what was the Black Panther Party doing? Let's take us a look.
Hey, y'all, come out here! It's the police! It's the brothers! We're going! Get some backup! Get the hell out of here! Get out of here!
So, Huey, so what's your telephone number?
Well, I confirm with you my address. That's all I'm required by California law to do. We ain't broken no law.
Then what are you doing with that gun?
Well, what are you doing with yours?
Let me see that rifle, son.
No. This is my private property. According to California law, we got a constitutional right to bear arms.
What? That's okay, move along. Go on about your business.
Wait, brothers and sisters, no. You ain't got to go nowhere. This is your business. Stay right here. The law says, as long as you stand a reasonable distance, that's 8 to 10 feet to be exact, you got a right to observe the police carrying out their duties. From what I can see, you're standing 22 feet away from this man. So, brothers, ain't no law being broken.
That's right. You stay right where you are. You ain't got to go nowhere.
Tip point protest. Learn about the Black Panther Party.
Is that gun loaded, boy?
Fish and game law clearly states it's unlawful to carry a live round of ammunition in the chamber of a shotgun or rifle in a vehicle. Pig.
Refer to him as officer. Then don't you refer to him as boy.
Well, is it loaded?
I tell you, officer, it wasn't, but now it is.
Ooh, there's a badass nigga. Now, for the last time, boy, what do those guns mean?
They mean, pig, that the Black Panther Party declares you try to brutalize our community, you try to take our weapons. We'll shoot you, man.
Back.
Jesus, I think I done died and gone to heaven!
black men was actually shooting out with the law enforcement 50 years ago, fighting for their freedom, the Black Panthers. But that's not what they wanted to show you. So the CIA had to come in and recruit black Americans in the 60s and the 70s to spy on Black Panther members in the US and Africa. The CIA said its goal was to see if black activists were financed and directed by communist governments. But that wasn't a real thing. It was black men was coming together united. And they wasn't being ignorant like Hollywood was portraying them. They wasn't dancing monkeys. There was an organized army fighting back against their oppressors. That was scary. So the CIA, you know what they had to do. What did the CIA do? That's when the shocking story behind Nixon's war on drugs that targeted blacks and anti-war activists. So during this time, when Nixon did that, in 1971, you can see the incarceration for blacks skyrocketed from 1971 to present day with this fake war on drugs. But the CIA is the one who introduced crack cocaine into the black community. On August 18, 1966, the same Jose Mercury News published the first installment of a 3-part series of articles concerning crack cocaine. The Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, and the Nicaraguan Army, the introduction to the first installment of the series read, for the better part of a decade, a San Francisco Bay Area drug ring sold tens of cocaine and to the Crips and Blood street gangs of Los Angeles and funneled millions in drug profits to the Latin American guerrilla army run by the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency, CIA. A Mercury News investigation has found.
That's right. That's nice. Yeah. Let's do that shit. Fuck is that? That's refreshing drink. That shit. Wow. Don't fake that. Pure crystal.
Now you just look at the last clip, look at this clip. What's so different between a scientist in the lab and the so-called D-boys cooking up crack? See, if you put these two things together, you can see it was made in the lab, just like this video gonna show us how they test drugs with the rats before they put it on the streets to see what the side effects is. Giving rats marijuana, giving rats cocaine, and testing the side effects. Just like they did before they put the drugs, aka crack, on the streets to break down the Black Panther Party and paint the image of a black man in a negative light by using the Crips and the Blood, young man who was led astray. Now, when it comes to the Crips and the Bloods, they originally started to protect the neighborhood, but it grew into something else. It grew into chaos. Because that magic wand was flashed, and people went into a daze. Again, put unto sleep. War on drugs is a war on us. You best believe that. Best believe war on drugs is a war on black people to incarcerate them, to have their mind gone farther than what it ever was. So the Crips originally was created to protect their neighborhood from gang violence in 1971, Crips by Tookie Williams. But that evolved into a street game and, you know, etc., etc. Became what we know as Bloods and Crips today, and the ones the CIA was selling crack to. Now, we have this Warner Sanders wrote about getting invited to speak at a seminar on black crime. To prep talk for the talk, he caught up with a neighborhood hustler named Fast Willie and asked him why he robbed and beat up black people who are brothers. Willie's response was an early indication of what we need to know about the supposed black-on-black phenomenon. We go where the business is and where the man ain't looking. Can you see me going up to Deerfield, black as I am, trying to stick up? The man would be on me so fast I couldn't get a chewing gum wrapper. Out here the man is too busy whooping them Panthers and giving tickets to mess with me. Anyway, he don't care if niggas get ripped off, but you can bet he's watching his thing back in his own hood. So Deerfield is a North Chicago neighborhood that's historically been predominantly white and is 90% white today. The rest of Willie's testimony is self-explanatory. He commits crimes against other African Americans because that's who lives around him, and that's what police would let him get away with. That's when you've calmed the thug life came, but these dudes not thugs. He commit crimes against African Americans because that's who lives around him, and that's what police let him get away with. Instead of him partnering with the Black Panthers and being a strong man, he became the weakling, what we call gangsters and thugs today, and robbing his own people because he's scared to fight the fight that the Black Panthers was fighting. Why was he scared to fight? Did he not have a strong, masculine role model? He did have the Panthers in front of him. But it was something else going on during this time. What was going on? Out of wedlock birth rates hit in the 70s, the same time when the crack epidemic hit. So these so-called gangsters was raised by single mothers, right? In 1965, 24% of black infants and 3% of white infants were born to single mothers. By 1990, the rates had risen to 64% for black infants and 18% for whites. So you can see what's going on right here. Everything is lining up together. The ones, those Bloods and Crips who turned instead of protecting the neighborhood, start tearing the neighborhood down, was raised by single mothers, which was in the same year the incarceration went high for black men. 71, yeah. Everything is lining up. Single mothers produce what we call thugs and gangsters today who was sticking up their own people instead of fighting alongside the Black Panthers. Why? Because the Black Panthers was an organized what they're called gang, but you had to be educated to be a Black Panther. You couldn't just go out there and be robbed in the neighborhood. No, they were shooting against the real oppressors, fighting the real war. But these gangbangers, what people like to call thugs, was too scared for that, so they stood up their own people. In 1969, Governor Ronald Reagan of California made what he later admitted was the biggest mistake of his political life. And what was that? No-fault divorce. Now you have women leaving their husbands for no reason because they could be strong and independent and don't need no man. So now we have more men being raised by single moms. Welfare may have played a role. It's important to realize that things weren't always so. The Black American family provided a stark example. From 1890 to 1950, black women had a higher marriage rate than white women. And in 1950s, just 9% of black children lived without their fathers. By the 60s, the black marriage rate had declined but remained close to the white marriage rate. In other words, despite open racism and widespread poverty, strong black families used to be the norm. But by the mid-1980s, black fatherness skyrocketed. The crack area hit big. Single mothers. Today, only 44% of black children have a father in the home. So the rate of black out-of-wedlock births went from 24% in 1964 to 70% by 1994. One contributor to the family breakdown, which soon spread to the poor and working-class white family, may have been welfare. Cash welfare in meager form existed since 1935, and some welfare expansion took place during the Kennedy administration. But under Johnson Great Society, which began in 1964, benefits became substantially more generous and came under greater control of the federal government. In the words of Harvard Paul Peterson, some programs ethically discouraged marriage. They wanted to break up the community. And now you have the rise of what? The black woman biting that apple again. Just like Eve was deceived, The black woman was deceived. They wanted to be a man, just like Eve wanted to be equal with God. And it starts with an F, and it's not going to end well. So now, present day, why are so many middle-aged women on antidepressants? And it's steady rising, mostly in women, trying to be a man. It's the image that they bought into. Body goals. Now, you can be big and beautiful, when at one point, being obese wasn't even something normal. You was looked down upon, but now, you are beautiful and bad. Look at modern day black women now. The majority of them are obese. I think 70-some% of black women are obese. That is a sad number. And this is what the black man's supposed to settle for today.
Racism that you're experiencing and the struggle to make ends meet actually means the diet don't work for you the same. I hate when people talk about black women being obese. I hate it. We are living in the Trump.
No accountability. She want to blame her obesity and picking up a fork and stuffing her face on racism. Nah, she bought into the illusion.
Question. I gotta ask you because you're on this show with the cocktails with the queens, and there's a reason for that. It wasn't to have you defend or not defend Donald Trump. It was about I care about what's in this contract with Black America for women, and it's not we're not mentioned at all in the contract with Black America. And I
mean, when you mention black people, you mentioning black women, so don't count yourself out.
No, that's not true. It's like administration say that when they
black people is not black women. Black women are not included in black people.
No,
Looking at that video, you see black women don't much consider themselves a part of the black people no more. They have separated themselves. Independent women. It's a shame. The media has sold them an image that's not true and made the black man guilty when the black man always been innocent, trying to take up for his people.
A service that you offer, is it something that's extremely popular with African Americans?
It's normally what I do is, honestly feel what I do is usually in the next level. We're in media, so we know that a politician doesn't get out to that mic without being scripted. Every time you see somebody before a camera that has a profile, that has been scripted down to the color, the tie they wear, their shoe, whatever. I actually came down to the middle market specifically to work with men, black men in particular, because our image has been tarnished so much. And I am trying to make it something that brothers really kind of understand how important our individual image is, so we can use that to fight back against all these kind of negative stereotypes. We already have natural style. I mean, people copy us, but I'm trying to get, we come from a different school to where, we used to get dressed up to go to church, go out to dinner, those kind of things. We used to be sharp. Now, I want men to actually take that back and put on what I call their black armor and get out into that world and fight that battle.
So you mentioned the image of black men. Who contributed to the image of black men going down?
Well, the dominant society, white people. I mean, look, you can look back to, even from a historical perspective, go back to 1915, D.W. Griffith, Birth of a Nation. Back at a time where we were 50 years out of slavery, we had towns and stuff around the United States, Rosewood. I'm here in Oklahoma, so we had Black Wall Street. We were doing just fine on our own. And then you see this movie heralding the Klan coming in and cleaning up this black scourge. You saw black men in the halls of Congress eating chicken and watermelon with the feet all up. And that was the beginning of the major media assault, the propaganda assault on the black male image. And it has continued on since then. Think back into the 80s when you had shows like Cops, America's Most Wanted. The face of crime, the boogeyman in the United States is the black male image. So I don't expect the dominant society to actually backtrack, even if the people today say they didn't have anything to do with it. It's up for us individually to take control of our own image and actually put it in the face and say, no, 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 that's not who we are. This is who I am, and I demand your respect. So I could go on about that, but yeah, we know who started, but it's for us on an individual level and collectively to understand that and do something about it.
So what's
Rest in peace to Kevin Samuels. They hated Kevin Samuels when he was trying to bring the black family back together. So now, since the black man don't control his image, what we gonna do? How will we ever unite when we are not in control? And most people not gonna turn off those TVs. And now they have these smartphones in their hand, which is more media, social media. It's more programming going on day by day. Would the spell ever get lifted from Hollywood? One. Or will we stay under a spell? What would it take? Y'all tell me. Here's more conspiracies on how the TV is using every network to brainwash the masses of the people. Leave your comments and everything down below.
I am not asking anybody to take a chance on me. I'm asking you to take a chance on your own aspirations.
I'm not just asking you to take a chance on me. I'm also asking you to take a chance on your own aspirations.
I haven't spent much of my life in politics, which most of you know, but I've spent enough time in Washington to know how much we need to change Washington.
I haven't spent a lot of time learning the ways of Washington, but I've been there long enough to know that the ways of Washington must change.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities,
Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But
we are concerned about trouble and the irresponsible one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
Plaguing our country.
Sometimes we may be crying and